All right, so let's talk a little TV for a while. So
Sure.
we'll kick things off with Superman Lois season 3.
Right. Right.
So I'll do the synopsis for this. I'll do my best, and then we'll talk about it, right? And we may get a little spoilery, especially with the last two episodes, because
That final episode was kind of hard.
yeah, because some shit went down. Some
Some
shit
shit went down.
definitely
Yeah.
went down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're back with the Kent family. That would
Yep.
be Clark and Lois and
Right.
Jonathan and Jordan, right?
Right.
As in the
They changed
kids
the
of
actor for
yes,
Jonathan.
yes,
Yeah.
that
Changed the
is
actor for
true
Jonathan.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Jonathan, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Jordan looked the same, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we learn, unfortunately, that Lois has breast cancer, right?
Right. Right.
And this season actually zeroes in a lot on that, right? And I'll
Yeah.
talk about that in my review, right? And you really get some genuinely emotional moments out of that, right?
I just gonna
But
say it. I'm gonna say it now, Matthew. I thought this was the best season. I didn't expect. I went into this thinking, alright, they're gonna start a half-assed now, and it had me pulling out the popcorn. I was like, it was really good though, especially with Mannheim and his family.
yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. I agree with you as well, right? Even though I have a few nitpicks, but not that bad, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of Bruno Mannheim, because yes, he was brought up. His name was brought up at the end of the
Right.
final season, right? So yeah, we are introduced to Bruno Mannheim. Now he is this weapons dealer actually,
Yeah.
and oh gosh, well John Henry Irons, this one that is on Earth right now, this particular Earth, yeah, he wants to pretty much wants to get rid of him because back in his Earth now, Bruno killed his sister, right? But the doppelganger sister is actually alive here, and she mentioned some stuff about him, right? And yeah, you learn about Bruno's, grand schemes basically. So
Yeah.
it involves this hospital, and they're doing research on cancer because we learn that his wife also has cancer as well, and then it's revealed that she actually is a particular villain, right?
Right.
Her name is Pia. Well,
Yeah.
sorry,
Well,
her
yeah.
real name is Pia, but in the
It's
comics,
onomatopoeia.
Onomatopoeia, right?
Yeah. Yeah. They changed up
Yeah,
onomatopoeia. Yeah.
right. And essentially, she is the Banshee character, right? She
Right.
screams, and you have these supersonic
Well,
yells and all that kind of
they
stuff,
will
right?
change up. They will change up the powers because that's not what onomatopoeia's power set is necessarily. But I get
Okay.
why. Like it makes sense it being that though. So it's not like it they went too far. The only thing is that onomatopoeia was a white guy. That's the only difference.
Oh,
So
okay,
like,
okay.
yeah.
And she also has this really intriguing, like, set of side powers too, where she could kind of
To replicate song.
do something to your mind to make you assume that stuff is going on. So what I mean is, right? So she would create these sort of illusions that say somebody is firing shots at you. So you're
All right.
thinking you're collecting gunshots, but actually you're not. You're not getting hit at all, right?
Yeah. That
And then
basically what
also
she could do. Yeah. Basically her power set is she could replicate any song anywhere. So
right.
it'll make you think you're here, and then for anybody. So it's not. I don't think it's psychic necessarily, but it's just making you fooling into thinking that songs happening where they're not happening. That kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right,
And then also too, she has, going back to the whole banshee power thing.
right. That
It's
stream, that the
this kind of
ability
thing,
to
like
stream.
even like from
Yeah,
inside, like there'll be this sort of like rumbling in a neck too.
yeah,
Like once she sort of feels it, and then she just sort of lets loose the yell itself. So it's not like she just yells and it comes out. It kind of comes from inside, and because she is sickly and close to dying, slight
yeah,
spoiler, yeah, it feels like these like earthquakes, if you will. Like we
right.
all feel the earthquakes while she's suffering inside, right? So yeah, so his plan basically is to treat her, right? And he is going out of his way to reanimate, certain villains, and
Right,
give them some of the blood of Bizarro, who was introduced in
right,
season 2, right?
right.
Trying to get them back, trying to get them alive and more powerful and whatnot, right? So while all this is going on now, yeah, we have to touch on the Langs, right? So yeah,
Right. Well,
Lana and Kyle are still, they actually are officially divorced. I'll talk about
this
them. I'll talk about
this
them, right?
was terrible. I don't waste my time. That was by far the
I'll
worst thing
talk
that
about them.
dragged down the goddamn show. But that's about it. I don't care.
All right, so I'll just say this one time before I forget it, right? But I'll talk about it later on. In the final episode, Kyle do some fuckboy shit, Jen.
Yeah.
And when I watch him, I'm like, Huss, why you gonna do that for, buddy? Like, I understand it. I understand the context and how you're feeling and
I
you're
don't care.
enthusiastic.
And then another
But why you gonna do
character,
that for, boy?
another character that also, look, he kind of passes point of diminishing returns, and I heard the actors, one of the actors not coming back, and another character, the actor not coming back. I heard. That is the grandfather, and then his daughter is like, ugh. So what are they gonna do with him? And he not gonna serve a purpose, whatever. And I like her. I find his daughter is good, Lane. Uh, they're not coming
Yes,
back
yes,
up from
yes.
what I understand for the new season, but I don't know. We'll see.
Right, right, right. Yeah, so yeah, there all this drama with them too, and essentially it's just Kyle and Lana moving on, right? You
Yeah,
know, they still are the the parents of Sarah, and the sister, and as always, I think I brought this up in the last review, and I was making fun of it too. It's like they always forget she. I think there's like
yeah,
1, 2 episodes where she actually shows up, right? There's actually one in particular where it's like, you guys ignore me and blah blah
you
blah
know.
blah and
Yeah,
all this
she
stuff.
just she
But it's
just
like, yeah,
invisible.
the show forgets about you,
Yeah,
Sophie. That's her name. They
right.
literally forget about
Yeah,
Sophie. I
yeah,
don't understand why.
yeah.
It's
And
not
then
she's a
the
terrible
guy
actress, but I
who,
don't know.
right, so they had Lane's, we call him, Lane's daughter, Lane. She was in a romantic relationship with Mannheim, so they do a kind of Romeo and Juliet something with that.
Yes,
But I forget, and I was watching the face for the almost the whole season. Yeah, that was the kid from Creed 3, right? Who jumped on
that's
because
him.
that's
Yes,
him.
I
Yeah,
know. I
yeah,
was
yeah,
watching that
yeah.
man's face like I know
But
you from
yeah,
somewhere.
yeah, but I thought he was pretty good. My name's kid.
Yeah,
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 I thought
he
that was good
was
too.
right, and,
Yeah,
and he actually added a lot of depth to this because at first you're
yeah,
thinking Bruno's like this brutal son of a bitch, but you realize no, the man really have heart, and
right.
he will go out of his way to save his wife. But
That was
in the
surprising. And but
son,
they get one of my favorite character actors working right now, Chad Coleman, to come through. And I thought
yes,
I thought he was great. I did
yeah,
because
he
when I
was
heard Bruno Mannheim, I was like, oh, what they gonna do Dark Side or something like that. I was like, well, we didn't get that. And I'm glad what they did with it is what they did with it. Because it ended up being
right,
way
right.
more interesting and a much more interesting direction than what we got. And I was like, all right, good.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And last but not least,
Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor
Lex Luthor.
shows up,
So
and
I don't know who this actor was. But I swear when I saw the pictures on thing, I swear it was what do you call him? The actor from the voice actor from the show now, Mr. Krabs now. Oh gosh. Um
I know you're talking about, but I forget the name, Jed.
oh gosh, it's slipping my mind right now. Just so
Right.
Mr. Krabs' voice.
Oh, Clancy
Clancy Brown.
Brown, right?
So I thought it was Clancy Brown, And I was like, but that he's looking like Clancy Brown. I watch him as that he's not Clancy Brown. But
Yeah,
it really
it's
feel like
actually
if
Michael Cudlitz.
yeah, but
Cudlitz.
it's really but what it is yeah, they get this dude. He looks like if his Clancy Brown Lex get older and more rugged, and a
Yes, right.
different
Emphasis
direction
on
for them.
rugged, eh?
Yeah, yeah,
Because what is set up here, I'll
yes,
close this, right? Is that due to some chicanery with Bruno and
yeah,
his wife, yeah,
like a
Lex
good
got
twist,
arrested got convicted for a crime he did not commit. He was in
right?
the pen for 20 years or so.
Yeah, yeah, it was
So
about
yeah,
16 years, yeah,
but right.
and they
So
reference the daughter Moxie,
yes, yes,
and I
they
was like,
did,
all
yeah.
right, what? All of
Yeah,
that?
and
I was
and,
like, all
and
right,
Lex is pissed AF.
pissed,
So
yeah,
the moment he is released now, because Lois had to kind of come to terms with the fact that Lex is indeed innocent, so he's free now.
yeah,
Yeah, the man have it out for Lois and Superman.
yeah,
And I will just spoil a little tiny thing. I feel he know that Clark is Superman. Because there's a
right,
moment in a particular episode, which we'll talk about in the spoiler section, where there's like a few seconds where you watch him hard. I like,
mm,
all right, he knows who he is. He knows who
yeah.
he is. I like that. That was great. And yeah, that's my little summary of this season. But yeah, Ricardo, take it away. Well, you'll mention little spoilery stuff with the last 2 episodes, but yeah, yeah. What are your thoughts on the season here, man?
Yeah, I didn't expect to enjoy this as much as I did. I went in thinking there's gonna half-ass this. It's gonna be way worse than the last couple of seasons. All of this stuff with we call it by with the writer strike, and they're gonna kind of thing, and it ain't gonna be as good. I know it ended up being probably my favorite season so far. What they do with these characters, they make it simple. They do an interesting story as to how Superman could get taken down and beaten back down with this kind of stuff, and they make it work for what it is. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. And then, well, the ending was real freaking hard. Because yeah, well,
It
and
was.
can we spoil it? You want to spoil it?
No,
Uh,
no. When I finish my little in-depth review, then we'll get to the spoiler
yeah,
part, right?
but
And
yeah,
I
the
won't
ending,
say spoilers. We just mean like the last couple episodes,
the
but
last episode.
yeah.
Well, basically the last episode, like just that
Mm.
final what it do with the ending. All I'll say is that it had a little something reminiscent of Superman 4. That's all I'll say, which is not the best
Uh
Superman movie, but it's a
no,
good
no.
reference. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did, mostly because of Mannheim. Like Bruno Mannheim was actually engaging as a character, and they give him depth, and because usually he's like a kind of a Italian stereotype mob boss type. Like usually they just go with that. They didn't do that to this. They made it much more interesting. And then they did on the nice take and twist they did with Lex, pretty good too. Lois and Clark in particular, they were great. They just that just simple cancer story, and then the twist with Pierre and how that tie into them and how they find out later. Like, oh, all of this working and good. The kids kind of fell flat, right? They got a new actor for the first son or second son, no, first one. Uh, I'm not impressed by him, you know, whatever. But they still kind of underwrite him, and I kind of didn't care about his arc. Then the second son, who have the powers, they didn't do much enough. Or I don't think they did enough with that either. That wasn't as interesting as it could have been.
Hmm.
The grandfather and the daughter from the parallel universe, I thought they were doing some interesting stuff, and then when I hear neither of them coming back for the next season, so I think that right up. And I think the
Which
grandfather was
sucks.
like, I think the grandfather was written out, and from I understand, it has a lot of contract behind the scenes issues that why he didn't show up for the finale and whatever. Whatever.
Right, right,
Moving
right.
on.
Well, now I know actually because I was actually wondering why he wasn't
Yeah.
in the finale. Yeah.
Right. Whatever. Moving on. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoy this. This is good. I really hope we get at least a couple more seasons of the show. Especially with James Gunn stuff kind of now to thing because the Arrowverse kind of done now, right? It kind of done. So like, I don't know where this show go and go. I don't know. I don't want. I don't. And to be honest, I don't want the show go on too long. Like 5 seasons done enough. But again, a fourth
Yeah,
season,
please,
great.
please, dear God, let we not do the Smallville thing where we get
Yeah,
10, stop
yeah,
at
yeah,
5,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
It was too much, right? No, but they you know they did a decent job. I don't mind we get one final season and they wrapping it up. I could do with that. But if we get 2 more seasons, that'll be my ideal. But yeah, I thoroughly loved it. Smart, surprising, great character stuff. Some of the best character stuff on the Arrowverse, if you're calling it that still in a while. And yeah, I was engaged. I went in thinking, wait, but this gonna be trash. And then by episode 3, it had me pulling out the popcorn, and I was like, all right, yeah, they had me. Great, great rating. My rating right now 8 out of 10. Loved it.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
for me, I don't love it as much as you did, but yeah, I enjoyed it as well, man. Just mainly because of how emotional it was, man, and
yeah,
how it really took its time to tell its story, right? I have a few gripes with the storytelling overall with the season, but I'll get to
right.
that in a bit, right? The mere fact to have Lois be diagnosed with cancer, right?
Yeah,
And just that in itself though just caught me by surprise, right? And it's how they build it up very very slowly, right? Points for the writers for some of these episodes, boy, because they just got some great emotional moments out of it without being too sappy, without beating you over the head with it, right? I love how headstrong and stubborn Lois is. It works with the character, and I just love those moments where it's like everybody's telling her, "No, you need to slow down" and all that kind of stuff. Because what is set up early on is that she is like hell bent on bringing down Bruno, right? But she's going through her stuff as well too. Her health is deteriorating at that
right. And
point.
what she outright had the mastectomy, so it's like, wow, they
Yes,
went
yes,
there
yeah.
now.
Well, she had a double one actually,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, they
Slight
went
spoiler,
there.
right?
They went there. I was
Yeah,
like, yeah,
right. Exactly.
yeah,
Just,
yeah,
just, just the mere fact that they went there, right,
yeah,
and had moments where she's talking about it, talking about how she will feel in front of Clark, right?
yeah,
Her with her body being scarred, so to speak, right? Like I just watching and I just hearing dialogue like this. I like
yeah,
I can't write this.
yeah,
Even if somebody pay me X amount of dollars, I can't write dialogue like this. I can't talk about how a woman would feel
yeah,
with a
exactly.
treatment, going through a procedure like that. And somehow they did it.
Yeah.
And they didn't make it sappy. They didn't make it too
It
cheesy,
didn't
corny.
feel, yeah, exactly. It didn't feel cheap or dumb or like they didn't half-ass it. It is,
Yeah.
listen, it's a goddamn
It
comic book
felt
TV
real,
show.
though.
Yeah, it's a goddamn comic book TV show, and they actually, make me care.
Yes, I
Yeah,
cared.
yeah,
Agreed.
exactly.
I gave a shit though. So
You
yeah,
know,
props to Elizabeth Tulloch though, who
yeah,
plays Lois. Boy, she is the MVP in this whole show. Boy, I just love how it's compared to Clark, who's played by Tyler Hoechlin. If I got the name
heckling,
wrong, sorry.
heckling.
Hecklin. Sorry, right.
Yeah, yeah,
Because yeah, I mean yeah, he's been living on Earth for a while now, but yeah, this is new to him, right?
yeah,
And then
yeah,
it's even worse now because it trickled down to his kids, because so they're trying to deal with it as well, right? So speaking on the kids, yes, the new guy who plays Jonathan, he is fine.
yeah.
The arc
But
that they give him where he's trying to get a job so he could get closer with his girlfriend.
I
I
couldn't
didn't really
care.
care for all that
I
much.
couldn't
It
care.
just kind
Yeah, I
of
couldn't care.
stops at a certain point.
It's not
Um,
bad. It's not as bad as the Lana stuff, right? But it
oh yeah,
it was it was
I'll
it
get
was
to
still,
I'll get to Lana. I'll get to Lana,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Right. So I should bring it up. Well, yeah, Jonathan ends up working with Kyle, right?
right.
So he is a firefighter trainee, if you will, right? The stuff with Jordan, I was getting it. Like, okay, he
Right,
is Superboy now. He
right.
has a suit which I don't think is part of any relates to any comic book that
You
ever
know
came
that's
out
what it
about
remind
him.
me of? It remind me of oh gosh, American Alien, the American Alien suit. If you look up that,
Okay.
it's Max Landis suit, I think Max Landis story. It remind me of
Uh,
that, the early American Alien outfit. That's what I
right,
think
right.
they was going for. I think so.
Yeah, and I was liking the whole idea of you should be responsible and you shouldn't show off your powers, all that kind of stuff, right? But I mean, they do this 16 years older, like what I expect, right? So
Yeah,
yeah, I would admit there was moments where Clark and Lois was hard on this guy, Jed, but I don't blame them because at times Jordan will do some dumb shit, right?
yeah,
But in Jordan's case, in Jordan's defense, it's like the man went on to tell people, "Hey, I'm Superboy," blah 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 blah,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
The
yeah,
man did what
yeah.
he gotta do. He is still, trying to get over his breakup with Sarah. Yeah, I mean it's relatable. I can understand that, right? But even like Sarah and all too is just like, all right, I dealing with the same with my dad's divorce, and okay, so my dad hooking up with somebody else, and it just so happens to be Chrissy Beppo, right? That would be Lewis's assistant, right? And at first, at first, right, I just find I felt that relationship was forced, But over time, I was like, all right, let's see what they get at here. Okay, okay, okay. And I would say this season have a lot of hooking up though. So yeah, they even try to hook up Lana. Well, I should say, yeah, I have to say try, right? Hook
Ugh,
up Lana with John and
dumb.
all too.
That
And
was so dumb,
like
eh? Like
and on
God,
paper, I get it.
yeah, that
They,
is
they
dumb.
they have their significant others are gone now, right?
Right. Oh God,
But again, it just
I
felt
couldn't
a
care.
little too forced though.
It was real
I
dumb. Yeah,
will I will
sorry.
admit though, I like how John handled the situation.
Right.
I like how John
Love it.
handled it, because it's actually a dinner scene where he's like, I just want your permission. If this works for you, fine, and whatnot. But
Ah,
Lana, honestly, right? As much as I love the actress and whatnot, right?
yeah,
She should kind of take Samuel's advice though and just focus on her instead
yeah,
of like
whatever.
try to go back out into the dating game, which is, well, that's just me, right? But yeah, it's a
It's normal
lot, it's a
CW
bunch
bullshit.
of, yeah, it's that stuff, right?
Yeah,
Now, when it comes, but and then well, I'll get to. Oh gosh, I should mention Bruno. Yeah, yeah. Well, Chad L. Coolman. I mean, I've always been a fan of
yeah,
him since like what the Wire days and Walking Dead
yeah,
days.
yeah,
Yeah, he is so compelling as Bruno, right? He
yeah.
is still the tough, intimidating guy, but yeah,
Right.
he's the responsible father and he's the loving husband, right? And just seeing how far he will go to save his wife, though, is great, right? The actress who plays the wife, Pia, right? Daya Vidya, she is great as well, both
Yeah.
as the cancer patient
Right.
and this villain though. Like I actually like the mask and the skill set and whatnot,
Yeah.
but like leading up into the end season where her powers start to wear down, because of the cancer. Yeah,
Yeah.
those were really compelling moments, and how their arc ends though was strong. I won't lie,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Pretty good.
That being said, though, right, if I just have a few issues with the season, I felt like as much as I was really enjoying Bruno's stuff, though, when Lex comes in, it's almost like they just kind of push Bruno to the side. Like, okay, like we done
Well,
with Bruno, so we have two more
because
episodes.
right.
Yeah, let me
Well,
just bring in
I
Lex
didn't
now.
mind that. I didn't mind that because they tie Bruno to Lex. I didn't mind that.
I know, but
Right.
it was just true dialogue. It wasn't
Right.
like we were seeing them. In other words, it's not like we were seeing Lex show up periodically or whatnot. Right? There's only
Right.
last
Right.
two episodes where I just thinking, all right, the story gonna end, and I realized, oh wait, no, we have two more episodes. And that when
Right.
Lex came in, it's like, oh shit, okay, right?
Yeah.
So it almost feels like we doing all this stuff with the cancer stuff, blah blah blah, and I was loving all that, right? And then we just want to set up a fourth season, so let's
Right.
now bring in Lex into the situation. I
Right.
felt
Right.
they could have bring in Lex a little earlier
All right. Yeah.
into the series, into the
Right. Yeah.
season instead of
Fair
the
enough.
last,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Right. Um, and last thing before we get to the spoiler section, though, speaking of Lex, though, Michael Cudlitz, who plays Lex, though, is fantastic. This is probably the most intimidating Lex I've ever seen
Yeah.
on
Pretty
screen.
good. Yeah.
And while I was
I
watching
mean,
this, though, I was so impressed.
Rosenbaum is still my boy, yeah, but this guy
Yeah,
pretty
but
good
but
too.
but he is in this case, this Lex is like a literal tough guy, Dre. Like, you
Exactly.
don't want
Yeah.
to fuck with this guy at all, right? While the other Lexes are like these smart businessmen type
Right.
characters,
Right.
but if you try to get into the business, that's when he'll hit you, right? But
Yeah.
this guy is like you don't even look like a businessman. You look like
At all.
all right,
Yeah.
like everything was fine at a certain point, and then he went to jail, went through
Yeah.
hell,
He more
give
like
hell back,
Kingpin.
and now he
Yeah.
is back for revenge. Right?
Yeah. He more like
He's
Kingpin than Lex.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. But I will not lie though, while I was watching this, I was like, but just a few months ago, I saw Titans, which
Yeah.
had
Right.
another Lex.
Yeah.
And years ago, there was Supergirl that had
Yeah.
another Lex,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
said to myself, if Warner and DC was none bullshit, we
Yep.
could have had one Lex. But
The one.
no, we
Yeah.
now
Well.
have
Well. Four
four
legs.
incarnations of
Yeah.
Lex and even more live
In less
action
than 10 years.
incarnations of Lex. And
Yeah.
like in less than 10 years, I'm like,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
Why?
Failure.
So
Real
I
failure.
don't blame the show for going out of its way to make this Lex feel very distinct, and this one
Yeah.
is, right? There's in the last two episodes, right? There's some moments with Lex where like, dog, I didn't know he was that unfuckwittable, Dre. Like there's a
Nah.
moment
You
with
get
him
you.
in prison
Right.
involving a
Grimy.
haircut.
Yeah.
I say
Grimy.
like, dog, dog.
Yeah. Man. Grimy. Grimy.
Dog, ain't you supposed to be like this businessman, this
Nah.
multimillionaire and
Nah.
whatnot? Like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love how they incorporate Bizarro into the story,
Yes.
especially with the encounter with Lex and Bizarro and what he does with him, right? And we'll
Yeah.
get to that in this spoiler section, right? So yeah, I would agree with you, man. This season was really exceptional, man. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed this one, and I'm excited for the next season. I really do hope that we get two more out of this. We
Yeah.
don't get a 10 episode 10 season run like Smallville. And I'll close this. This feels like what a modern take. Like let me just say, if Smallville wasn't so focused on the
Yeah. The bullshit.
Clark and Lana shit and just
Yeah. The
focusing
CW
Clark and
bullshit.
Lois shit.
Yeah.
This is what we should have
You're
gotten
right.
in the last 5 episodes. Well, maybe not so much him with the kids, right? But just him trying to exist as a boyfriend or husband, to Lois, because really at the end of the day, that's the strength of the show, right? It is about Superman Lois. I will admit, just last little nitpick, it's more Lois than Superman. It's more about Lois's struggles than Superman, and it is about Superman having to deal with it too. But it's more about Clark dealing with like him as a human being, well, human so to speak, right?
You're right.
And not so much about Superman, right? But that's not to say that Superman isn't in the show. There actually is one episode in particular where he is not in it at all, right? But the reveal at the end with Bruno's son, I thought that was worth it, right? And it's actually a really, really nice episode involving what is called, I think it's called The Dress. Yeah,
Right.
that's the name of it though. Again, the writing and the dialogue, but I can't write dialogue like this. So like just that end sequence with Clark and Lois though is so genuinely beautiful though, and heartfelt. Like I was like, wow, Trey, like what going on here? Boy? Like men really putting pen to pad with this show. But wow, okay. But yeah, this was an excellent season nonetheless. So I'm gonna give this a light to decent 4 to 5 as well. I was not completely blown away by the season though, but yeah, hands down, easily the best we've gotten so far, and I can't wait to see what we get next with season 4. So just to touch briefly on spoilers, now you've been
Yeah.
one
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Doomsday.
Lex
Doomsday, baby.
is a badass too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Doomsday, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, before we get to right. Well, before we get to Doozer, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, Lex being a badass and all that too, right? So we mentioned
Right.
about the whole jail thing, right?
Right.
Us, that whole thing with him, it starts off with wanting to basically to be his own barber, so to speak, and
Right.
how that leads to him, intimidating the warden and threatening to kill his family and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And where it ends with just all these guards beating the shit out of the same guy that was beating
Right.
up on Lex though was so hardcore, even by
Yeah.
Superman Lois standards. I was like, well, am I watching the same show? What?
You know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Real
And
dreams.
how it just builds and builds into the character. Just the mere fact that my boy decided to just walk from the jail to Smallville, Dread, when a tornado is imminent, Dread. I like
You know.
this man on some Robert De Niro keep fake kind of shitter. Like,
You know.
this man like bringing the fire and brimstone, Dread. Like, what the hell is this, right? And I just love how he encounters Lois and Clark, Dread, and intimidating Lois in
Yeah. The house.
particular.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like I said, there's a moment where he watches Clark for a few seconds and he say, and he'll also kill Superman too. Just paraphrasing here.
Yeah.
And again, I feel like he knew that Clark is Superman.
Right.
Just that quiet gap. I know he know it. I know he knows, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, before we get to Doomsday, right? So the finale itself, right? So I should mention Kyle and some fuckboy shit, right?
Right.
So yeah, Chrissy is pregnant, right?
Right.
They kind of set that up in a couple
I
episodes ago because they say,
don't
well,
care. I
Chrissy
really don't
didn't
care
come to
about
the
this bullshit,
hospital.
though.
Yeah, like
Wow.
Chrissy didn't come to work today because she's
My
sick,
God.
right? Blah blah blah, right? Yeah, I mean it's neither here nor there for me though, but I mean oh gosh, man. So this comes right after this comes right after John hooks up with Lana, and dog, I don't blame him. I don't blame him, right? He did ask for consent, right? Right.
Yeah.
So as they both come outside of this particular bar trend, Kyle like watch them, and then just up on the side, he just go and grab the mic. They have this meteor shower festivities,
Yeah.
and slight spoiler with that episode, I felt we could have seen the meteor shower. They didn't show it, however. And yeah, the man just went up on the mic and say, "Hey, I'm having a baby," and like, yeah, the man literally doing it in front of Lana face. She's like, "Dog, why, bro?
I, I,
Bro,
I,
you on real shit, shit. You
I,
on real shit. You
I,
did
don't,
that on purpose."
I don't care about the side character of a side character. So it's not even a problem, but it's like the man not that interested anyway. So it's like whatever. Okay,
I know. I felt
whatever,
like he did some dumb shit too as well.
whatever.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
and he was doing some dumb shit, like how he was like. I don't. Sorry, I don't blame Lana's reaction to it, but at least she kind of accept the fact that he with somebody else. So it's just how quick they jump into this, because like literally what a month into divorce and they're trying to hook up with side characters. I don't know. It's kind of weird, right? Even though I didn't really care about it ultimately, I kind of like what Sarah kind of turning down Joan, because Joan was just being too down bad as
right,
usual
right.
on her. But she's like, you know what? I think for now we should just like not be friends. I like that. That's
Right.
actually a really cool moment, right? But yeah, on to Doomsday now. So much to my
Yeah.
surprise, right? And I'm gonna mention some of this, right? So Lex come up with this plan to pretty much make Bizarro this invincible creature, right? So he says, "I'm gonna kill you over and over and over
Yeah,
until you
might as well
become
Doomsday.
this thing."
I mean,
And I did
they make
like,
up a new thing, eh? They make up a way for Doomsday because I know Doomsday, but like, yeah, it makes sense.
I know, and
Exactly,
I
it
did
makes
watch
sense.
this
It's
like
fine. And here's the thing.
it's real edge lordy kind of stuff,
Yeah,
especially how they have this sort of metal music in the
yeah.
background, though.
In season three,
But in terms of turning Bizarro into Doomsday, yeah, it kind of makes sense, right? So I'm gonna bring this part up, and then you could come in, right? This, and even right down to the very end, I feel is another fuck you to the Snyderverse thread.
a little bit.
Because
Yeah.
instead of saying, "Oh well, let's just take the dead body of General Zod and turn him into Doomsday because
All right.
movie," they say, "All right, we're gonna take somebody who pretty much has the skill set already of Superman,
Right.
but let me just super size him, so to speak, and then
Yeah.
he becomes this monster, and let's call him Doomsday."
Right.
That kind of works for me. That
Right.
kind of works for me.
So in season three, I think in the premiere, when sorry, season two, last season, when the premiere, remember he was in a big green outfit, same Bizarro character.
Right?
That's Doomsday's outfit. So everybody thought it was Doomsday originally, and it's not. So now they make him Doomsday later. It's like, all right, they pay it off. It was Doomsday after all, which is not a bad idea. Turning Bizarro into Doomsday, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll say one of the bigger problems I had with Batman v Superman. Well, you know me and that movie, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
always felt that Clark should have fight a zombie version of Zod for a while, and then while the fight going on and the body getting damaged, then it turned to Doomsday later. So that would have been the surprise. Instead of
Right.
this, Lex Luthor yelling out, "You're a Doomsday," and one of the dumbest moments of the movie because Doomsday's gonna punch him or whatever. Yeah, I like what they do here for the most part. I mean, it still look a little cheap, they're at the budget, but it look alright still. But it look good still.
Speaking of that,
Yeah,
right? Yeah, the show has a way of cutting corners, right? What
yes,
what,
it's
what would
like
be like there will be moments where, for example, like a character will just go off into the distance, right? Like Superman or Superboy will go off in the distance, and then they will just kind of come back and say, "Yeah, I did this," or they will just kind of show up afterwards and then fly back out there. So you don't
yeah,
see the characters do much, right? With the exception of a few scenes like with the tornado stuff, right?
you're right.
Even I felt even with what the grandfather does is very akin to like what Clark's dad does in Man of Steel. Like literally, it kind of feels like an interpretation of that now. With the tornado and get under the bridge, that kind of scene. Like I felt it was a sort of a reference to that, subtle if you will, right? But yeah, they do kind of cut corners here or there though. But I will lie though, when it comes to the Doomsday, design of it. I was like, all right, that's what they're spending money on.
Yeah,
That's what is holding
yeah,
back the money on,
yeah,
because there's numerous shots of it, right? I know it don't look perfect, right? But for what they're going for and with the
yeah,
budget they're going for,
yeah.
yeah,
It's
it looked
fine.
great, but
You do the thing, yeah. I don't mind.
yeah. And we were seeing it coming there. Like I was at least hoping that we would have gotten it, right? But in my head, I was telling myself it was going to be Bizarro and Superman, and they were going to
Right.
end off the season. I did not expect
Doomsday. Yeah.
Doomsday
Me
and
neither. Yeah.
Superman, right? And yeah, we get this pretty, by the show standards, that is kick-ass fight though. What he did in the ocean with him freezing him up, that was cool.
Yeah.
Him and peeling him on top of the radio tower, that was
Yeah.
kick-ass.
Yeah.
How Doomsday rise, gets himself back up, that was cool as well though. I was loving all that. Yeah, then they do the whole, death of Superman thing where you're thinking,
Yeah.
oh shit, he's gonna die. And then you get like this nice little, flashback thing with, the
Yeah.
moments with Lois and Clark together
Yeah.
during the whole struggle with the cancer thing. I was like, all right, yes,
Yeah.
show, I like this, right?
Yeah.
And then it just ends spectacularly with this fight where they go into the moon.
And they
And just
leave
they're
it.
like,
And they leave it on a cliffhanger. Like, would.
yeah, boy. And just
Yeah.
they're like, all right, please don't end it on a cliffhanger. Oh gosh, I want to
Yeah,
see
for
it. I
real.
want to see it. But in the back of my mind, like, nah, they gotta end it there, right?
Yeah.
And
Man.
yeah, they just do the running close to each other, and then jump together,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yep.
then cut to
Yeah.
the logo. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, god damn it, I want to see more.
Yeah. Hard. Real hard.
But it was hard, though.
Just
It
hard. It was
was
very hard.
hard.
Yeah.
And I just can't wait to see what, well, of course, not just the outcome of it, of course, but how that's going to trickle into, well, because, yeah, Lex is going to be the new next antagonist, going forward, right?
Right.
And, for better or for worse, you'll see what happened to everybody else, right? Well, you see, well, John Dalton not coming back. That sucks.
Yeah.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is probably the first or second time that you see it with the suit on.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, but it sucks though. But they more or less write you out. They say that you go into this college in in Metropolis, basically. No,
Right.
I think it's the DoD Academy. It's kind of weird that Bruno's son going there. It would have been cool to see them together.
I don't
And try
know.
to
I
move
don't know
on
what they're
from what
doing. Yeah.
happened, but
Yeah.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know what they're doing. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that finale. Well, I should say the final moments of the finale was awesome. Though it
Yeah.
catch me completely by surprise. I
That was
will not
hard.
lie. But yeah, Ricardo. Yeah, your quick thoughts on the Doomsday and Superman fight.
No, yeah, it was just real hard. Again, for the budget and what he was getting, it's like, yeah, would I can't be mad at any of this. Yeah, as I say, I get my rating already, 8 out of 10, and that's the main reason that top it off. Cause like again, I was enjoying the Bruno Man and stuff and whatever it is, but like it wasn't blowing me away. It was like, yeah, it's good and it's decent stuff. But this little cherry on top is this. We'll put it up the extra little point. So like, I would, I can't be mad. So yeah,
Yeah, Kabi Mark. So yeah. Season 4, bring it on.
yeah, hard.
I'm just glad that this show exists, especially with pretty much the Arrowverse done. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But it again, it just sucks that this could not be connected to the existing shows, right? So
yeah,
even though you had John Diggle at the end of season 2, why wasn't this show connected to I know of course Tyler and Elizabeth, right? Appearing
yeah,
a few times in Supergirl, right? Why it still feels sort of distinct from the Arrowverse itself, right? Even though it's supposed to be part of it, right?
yeah,
So I just say it, right? Well, I don't want to ramble on too much of it. I just felt like with this season here and how really impressive it was, I just felt like there should have been more unity within these DC CW shows instead of trying to split things apart, right? And you really see it with the character of Lex Luthor because again, now we have three, what should I say, well, excluding Smallville, now we have three existing Lex Luthors. So you have the Supergirl, you have the Titans, and now you have this. It's like, come on, why not
yeah.
just one? You know what I mean? It's weird. It's weird, but the show is still really great. And we've been dogging on DC for a hot minute now, but yeah, this is one of the rare examples of something that totally works, man.